Well, hello, all you yokers far and wide. Here we are once again on the YokeTalk podcast, back to our uh, layout and things like that, away from the craziness of last week. Pastor Boz, how is
Mhm.
your head?
It's cold.
Cold. That's
It's cold.
feels bad.
If you guys are only listening in, we had something called Waymaker Week last week for GodSquadChurch, and we hit 100% of our goal. And one of the donations that came in was to make my hair look kind of crazy. And currently, right now, though, we shaved it all off. So my hair's already growing back, though. It's already growing back quite a bit. So I'm excited. My wife is excited as well. But I do have to say, my hair is so easy to take care of right now. There's no headphone hair.
I
Wake up in
bet.
the morning, nothing to do. Showering, a breeze. It's a breeze. I need a pee. I'm saving on shampoo right now. I am saving money. So
I mean, facts. Facts.
yes, yes.
Yeah, last week was very, very crazy. I've been enjoying a much needed couple days off. So
Oh yeah.
today
Oh
is
yeah.
still one of my days off, but we're doing Yoke Talk because we love you guys, and it's not that hard to just talk for an hour. So
The-
it's good. It's good. But we've got a variety of topics for you guys today that we cobbled together in the past half hour or so. But we've got some new AMD cards, graphics cards, releasing soon. And they're better than pretty much any of us expected they were going to be.
a lot better. Yeah.
So that's cool. Microsoft could be bringing xCloud to iOS next year, but through the web, not as an app. So that's interesting. Cold War, Call of Duty, is going to need 250 gigabytes to download, which Pastor Bob is shaking his head to.
This
But
is this is gonna be a short topic, but I got my thoughts.
we'll
Let's
talk
move
about
on.
that. Nintendo Switch is growing its cloud streaming. I didn't even know it was a thing at all. Apparently, it's been slightly
I
a thing in Japan for the
I
past 2
didn't.
years.
I had no idea,
Yeah, so that's a
to
thing.
be
What else
honest.
we got, Pastor Boz?
So Twitch guys, we know that TwitchCon was canceled due to COVID, but
Hashtag
apparently
canceled.
there's a TwitchCon next week digitally. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the cool name that they have for it as well, because it's not going to be called TwitchCon, but it's going to be called something else. We're going to
Oh,
be
I
talking
see it in
about.
the URL. That is cool.
Oh yeah. The PlayStation CEO says that VR won't be a meaningful part of gaming for years.
Feels
And
bad.
that's
But
interesting
then at the
that the
same time,
PlayStation CEO is saying it, but at the same time, what?
the next one, read it.
Oh, but at the same time, the Oculus Quest 2 was pre-ordered 5 times more than the original. I think we all know why, but we'll get into that in a little bit. And then
I don't know
final
where you're going, unless the answer is just Beat Saber, but I don't know.
there's a couple of but, also, guys, the PS5 controller, people are getting their hands on it. The console is not releasing for another 9 days, but people have their hands on the controller. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. Seraph, our one and only Unworthy Seraph, has
I
played the
actually played a
demo.
game, guys.
He played a game, and he played the demo for Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, which comes out in only 17 days. I'm excited for it,
Mhm.
and we'll see if Unworthy Seraph is as excited as I am after playing the demo, which I haven't played yet. And then finally, guys, Microsoft, they are if you can't beat them, join them, and we'll be talking about that
I
at
don't
the
know
end.
what this is, but I guess we'll find out. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. Alrighty, friends. Well, as a reminder, as always, you guys can send us topics that you would like us to discuss, especially life topics. We want to start diving into more of those. We may or may not have one for today. Maybe we'll piece something together here at the end if we
Well,
need a little
we'll
bit of
see.
time to fill. But look, we were both very, very, very tired coming off of last week. So we're hoping that this yoke talk doesn't just get like the short end of the stick, but we're
Oh,
trying.
no. This York talk will be just fine. I took yesterday off. My mind is ready.
He's ready. He's ready. All right. So let's throw us into our first topic of the day that I'm not going to spend too long on because I haven't really had time to go over the specifics of everything like I did with the new NVIDIA cards. But AMD has announced their new graphics cards, their architecture called Navi, and they are very exciting if AMD is to be believed. So a couple things of note. The cards have 50% better performance per watt compared to their last series of cards. And I forget, I believe the 6900 XT, their highest level card, rivals the RTX 3090, but for only $1,000 compared to
Yes.
the RTX 3090's $1,500.
Now, remind me, how much was the 3080?
The 3080 is 700.
And the one that rivals that, the 6800, is $579.
Is that the one that compares to the
I
3080?
believe so.
I'm not sure.
I believe it is.
This is why
That's
we're
what it
not
looks
spending
like.
too long on this, because I didn't have time to dive into it like I did with
Yeah,
the
this
NVIDIA
isn't the same
cards.
article, but yes, that is the one. That
Okay.
is the one. Yep.
So, yeah, very, very exciting. Of course, we'll have to wait and see when they come out on November 18th for the 6800 series, and then December 8th for the 6900 XT. But they look really, really exciting. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into a graphics card than just like the theoretical performance. We'll have to look at how it compares in certain types of games with certain engines and things like that. And we'll have to see what the driver side of things look like. I know when Ryzen first came out, there were some, growing pains with a new platform, motherboard issues and things like that. So some of those things they're less likely to happen with a graphics card, I would probably say, but could still definitely be some driver issues. AMD's graphics drivers have not been known for being super fantastic. So we'll have to see what everything looks like once these cards release, once we see the performance. But if you're someone who has not been able to get your hand on a new NVIDIA card and you've really, really been trying to, maybe hold off a little bit longer, and see what these have in store, because it's looking pretty darn good. And I'll be honest. I did not expect AMD to come swinging with these cards. I did not.
No.
Like,
And
go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna say, from the charts that I looked at, if not equal, it looks better.
In
Just from
some
the charts that I
cases.
looked at. Like I said, we didn't do a whole lot of studying on this, but it looks like there's a few cases that it looks like it might even be better. And AMD, it might be the way to go. People have been talking about AMD for a long time. So
Yeah, they've been the way to go for CPUs for a little bit now, at least in my opinion. They haven't, until just recently with their newest line of processors, they hadn't been able to beat Intel, but the price to performance was so hard to beat. It was you get maybe 10% less performance, but way better value. And you get more core count and more multi-threaded performance, things like that. So in my opinion, AMD CPUs have been the way to go for the past 3 years. And now in the most recent lineup that they're releasing very soon, they're actually going to be beating Intel on single core performance as well, which is incredible. But like I said, graphics wise, AMD had been not good. Every time they would come out with a new line of graphics cards, and they would not compare to NVIDIA's offerings. They tried so many things. They tried so many rebrands of different cards, and they would come out every time and be like, this is the one, this is it, this is great. And it never really was, but I think we might finally be there, which is exciting. They've been putting Intel through the ringer on the CPU side of things. And that has brought CPU prices way down. So it would be really, really cool if they could do the same with the graphics end. And it just, all the more reason. Now is the time to be a PC gamer.
Thank you, AMD, for making PC building a little bit cost effective at this point.
It's
Thank
looking
you.
great. And this is already with the pretty great pricing offerings from NVIDIA this time around. A lot of people expected those prices to go up even more, but they actually stayed more or less where they were, and
Relatively
we just got better performance for the same price, which was already incredible. So we were already happy with that, but now AMD could potentially be bringing that even more competition. So
We
I'm
might be
I'm very
even
excited.
even happier, possibly,
Even
but we'll
happier.
find out. We'll
It's a
find out. And
great
when does
time.
that release again?
So November 18th for the 6800 cards and December 8th for the 6900 XT.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So
Awesome.
pretty
Awesome.
soon. Looking good. Alrighty. Next
Awesome.
up, we've got Microsoft could bring xCloud to iOS next year, but through the web. So we've been talking about this a little bit, how basically Apple has been very, very closed off to other people offering game services on their platform, no matter what they may be. And they've just been very kind of adverse to gaming as a whole. So Microsoft has this dilemma where they're trying to launch their xCloud service, and naturally they would want to have an app for that on iOS. But Apple is basically restricting them to do that exactly how they would want, and basically saying that they have to do this really annoying thing where you basically just download app shortcuts, and then you can have a catalog app where you download the different app shortcuts, and it's just really doesn't make any sense because it's streaming anyway. It's not even like you need to like download an actual game. Like you can just stream them. So it's just a
Hmm.
mess. It's an absolute mess. So Microsoft's solution to this, at least for the time being, is to hopefully get xCloud working basically just through the web browser on iOS. So it doesn't have to be an app. People could just do it through the browser on iOS to kind of bypass that App Store restriction. They do still have plans to try to get it on the App Store as well in a state that they're going to be happy with. But at least for now, they are also looking into just getting it working on the iOS browser.
That's interesting. And honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that this is happening just because of the whole Apple Epic fiasco going
It's
on.
kind of
Reason
on the
why is
same wavelength.
Microsoft is obviously sided with Epic, and this is but Microsoft is they're not they're not doing it illegally.
They're not breaking any
So
policy.
there's the big difference here. But it's kind of interesting to see where this is going to go. I honestly, this is something that I probably would not care for, even when it does happen, or I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts. It's if somebody wants to use it, that's cool. But for me, so what does this have to do with their Game Pass? Because I'm seeing uh, a lot of things that are saying, this is combined with the
Yeah.
Xbox Game Pass, and so what does that exactly mean?
Yeah, so they basically bundled in xCloud with the Game Pass. I honestly don't know if you can buy either separately now. I think they just kind of bundled them together, which I think is a pretty good move because you basically get both for like a really good price. I think it's
Okay.
an incredible value. Um, I think game streaming as a whole is going to be a really really accessible way for people to get into like really AAA high budget gaming, because anyone with a phone can stream games, and then you just get a controller, you stream games to your phone, and you're playing the newest Call of Duty on your phone.
Sure.
Like I think that's incredible.
That's
Incredible.
crazy. That's actually crazy. Like, I remember, guys, when my sister was going to college and I was in 6th grade and she got a laptop. This was before trackpads. They had that little
The
red,
little
what was
nub.
it called? The little nub in the middle that would move your mouse around. And my dad said to me one day, he said, when you go to college, he said, you're going to be able to have the internet in the palm of your hand. And I didn't know what that meant. He didn't even know what that meant. And now it was probably about my junior, senior year of college that the internet was really big on cell phones, but literally, look at what we can do.
Look at what we have in our hands right now.
And now, if look at what we can do. Like this
Yeah,
is big. This is big stuff. So it's kind of cool.
it's really
Kind of
really
cool.
cool. I would never be the one to really be into uh game streaming just because I have a very capable computer as is. If I want to stream a game to my phone, I'm just going to stream it from my home computer probably. Um so it's not really something that's for me, but I can see it being for a lot of people,
Yes.
especially people that don't have a system. Like they don't have to have a PC. They don't even have to have like a game console. They can just get this as a subscription service and have access to all kinds of games just on their phone, and you just hook up a controller, and it's basically a console experience with a smaller screen.
Yeah.
Really cool.
That is cool. That is pretty neat.
What we got up next?
The next thing, guys, Call of Duty. This is a big topic. Cold War is coming out very soon. It's coming out very, very soon. What is the day that it actually comes out,
I don't know.
actually? I don't even remember.
Does this article mention?
I don't think it does. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's mentioning it. But guys,
November 13th
250. Okay, November 13th. So 10 more days. 250 gigabytes.
at launch.
250 gigabytes at launch. Now, here's the interesting thing. The space requirement is dropping to 50 gigabytes if you only download the multiplayer. Now, I don't know if this means also the Battle Royale Warzone, or if this means just the multiplayer as a whole. I don't see the main campaign being 200 gigabytes.
I mean, if I would expect anything to be the biggest, I would expect it to be the campaign, to be honest, because you probably have the most unique and most amount of like different environments and maps that you're going to be playing on, with each level having a pretty unique map and layout and stuff. So I can see that being a thing for sure.
Okay. Yeah. And so people have been up in arms. People have been up in arms about Modern Warfare and the space, and they finally compressed it down to a reasonable size. But unfortunately, if you're planning on playing Cold War and having the full everything about it, it looks like your entire SSD drive is going to be completely full. And we'll see how this turns out, because it took a year for them to compress Modern Warfare. It's been a full year since that game came out, and now we have another one.
Well, I would hope they would take some of those things that they implemented to compress it and carry those forward to Cold War, but maybe the fact that it's already 250 gigs is not evidence of
they're going to carry it forward in a year. I don't know. This is it.
It's
I don't know.
It's weird, because I feel like things would be a little bit different if kind of all games seemed to be heading this way, but at least for right now, it's just Call of Duty. So that's
right.
That kind of, to me, makes me think, okay, well, like, are they just like the first ones kind of heading into this direction where games are just getting really big, or are they just like really slacking on the compression side of things and they just need to like get their stuff together?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean, they're good games. Don't get me wrong. Call of Duty is always, I understand a lot of people don't like the Call of Duty games and things like that, but they have a budget to be able to put out high quality games. They really do. High quality graphics and everything else. This is just crazy. I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, I feel like you should be able to, if you just compressed Modern Warfare, you should have been able to bring that over to Cold War. And it's all from the same, it's all from Activision. The compression has nothing to do with Treyarch. It has nothing to do with Infinity Ward and the difference between the two. I feel like that's an Activision thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
just
interesting. Hopefully, I would hope this isn't like a super big trend moving forward with gaming, because I don't think most people are going to be ready for it. What is the default storage capacity of the new consoles? I know the Series S, I think, only has like a 500 gig drive or maybe a terabyte. I don't know. I don't know about the X and the PS5 though.
Let me look that up real quick.
Because like, if every game starts heading this direction and every game is going to be 250 gigs, then a 1 terabyte drive is going to get filled up with like 4 games.
Looks like the PlayStation 5 will have 664. That's a very weird number. 664 gigabyte.
What?
I don't know. Huh. Is it the same for both? Because this doesn't even say both for digital and just the console as a whole. But so 664. That's a very strange number. The Xbox, on the other hand, what is it called? Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mm.
I always get this big
It's
messed up.
it's a problem.
It is a problem. Storage space is
What do we got?
200.
You're right.
No, the operating system gobbles up nearly 200 gigabytes of the SSD.
For the
800,
operating system?
1 terabyte. And this says the PS5 is 825
Okay,
gigabytes.
that
But
sounds kind of right after OS and
yeah,
stuff.
but
So,
the
okay,
operating system takes up 200
that
gigabytes, so you're
seems like a
technically
lot,
back to
but
that seems like a whole lot.
but okay, so
So
regardless, these new consoles only have about a 1 terabyte of storage off the bat. And I don't know what PlayStation's expandable storage situation looks like. Do you know? Because I know
there's
Xbox
what
is offering expandable storage, at least to some
right.
extent.
That was the bad thing about Xbox with the past few generations. You could expand it, but it was extremely difficult. Whereas PlayStation 4 made it super easy, so I don't expect
Okay, so
to see
probably
any difference
continue on
there.
that way.
That was one of the big things when people were buying them. But I know a lot of people are probably thinking 1 terabyte or 800 gigs. That's super small, but you got to think these are SSDs at this point. This is not what it used to be.
Hmm.
So, you're honestly, I don't. What does my SSD hold? I think it's a terabyte.
No, 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 no,
No,
no, no,
not
no,
even
no, no,
close.
no, no,
Oh no, no, that's my
no,
no, no.
no, no,
Sorry,
no.
that's my hard drive. My
Yeah,
SSD, it's like 100 gigabytes or something like
it's
that.
it's either
It's small.
120 or 250. I forget if we upgraded you to a 250 after your first one died.
Oh, that's right. I forgot my first SSD died. But regardless of all of that, what I'm trying to say here is like these are hot. This is big. Like these are consoles, guys. This is not a PC. So, I know that 800 doesn't sound like a lot, but for an SSD,
Yeah, SSD prices have come down a lot in recent years, but they're still more expensive than hard drives. So
yeah,
it costs more to have a 1 terabyte SSD than it does to have a 1 terabyte hard drive. So
right.
even if expanding the storage of your console is going to be easy, it's not going to be cheap. It's
Hmm.
not going to be cheap. Um, and I just don't know if people are ready to go out and spend $200, give or take a little bit, for another 1 terabyte of space. Like,
Yeah,
just for 4
yeah,
more games. Like,
yeah.
hopefully we don't live in that reality very soon.
It's like Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, and Overwatch. And that's all you can fit on your hard drive. It's rough. Rough days are coming. So
But we'll see how that pans out. Up next, we've got Nintendo Switch is growing its cloud streaming. Now, I didn't even know this was a thing at all. Apparently, this has been a thing in Japan since 2018 for select
really,
titles. Yeah. So there's I know of one. Oh, there was two. There was two. So Control Ultimate Edition and Hitman 3, I think, are coming to the US Nintendo eShop as
hmm
cloud version games. So you're
yes,
basically buying the game, but to stream it from a cloud server, just like you would with NVIDIA's cloud streaming or xCloud or those things. You're streaming it from a server somewhere. So this is honestly really, really cool, because if this becomes a little more widespread on the Nintendo Switch, then that kind of fixes the fact that it's kind of underpowered compared to the other consoles, because you could just
true.
stream something to it.
True, and they're also talking about here under that though. There's a paragraph that notes about like how it's underpowered, but it says the Nintendo Switch's hardware is limited to 700p in handheld mode and 1080p when docked, which we all know. But if we get the Pro model next year, as heavily
If
rumored, we could be looking at output comparable to Sony and Microsoft consoles as well as Google Stadia. That's a big
did
deal.
I ever talk about how they could get 4K possible on like the new Switch? I remember like hearing somebody else talk about it. But I don't know if I ever talked about it on YokeTalk. Do you remember?
I don't remember. I talked about it a little bit, but not how they could do it. Just the fact that it's kind of rumored
Yeah,
at
yeah.
this
So let me
point.
talk about it real briefly because I don't remember if I did in the past or not. And even if I did, it's still really, really cool. And maybe you didn't hear it from the past episode. So I was listening to another podcast, tech podcast, and they were talking about how they would make that possible on a Switch Pro because obviously you still have to keep it, portable, and that has a lot of limitations. But Nvidia has been doing a lot of really great work on upscaling.
Mhm.
So they've gotten really, really good upscaling tech in their graphics chips, and they can very easily upscale like a 1080p image to 4K and have it be like almost identical, almost just as good as actual 4K, and they can upscale that in real time. So what they could do is if they put a even just a slightly better mobile Nvidia chip in the new Switch, they'll be able to leverage that upscaling tech, and then when it's docked, um it'll still be rendering the game at like 1080p or whatever, but then upscaling it to 4K with that tech.
Hmm.
So that would be really, really cool. I can't remember if I had talked about that before, but that would just be super cool if they did it that way. I have no idea if they're going to.
I
It's Nintendo,
yeah.
who knows? But that would be
I
really, really cool.
I hope they come out with a pro model, and part of my reasoning is because my Nintendo Switch right now, when I turn it on, it sounds like an airplane is taking off for about the first 5 minutes, and then it just calms down when it's in handheld mode. But
I
that's
don't
besides the fact.
I don't know if I don't know if I would be willing to upgrade. I don't know. I think
And that's
I'd
that's that's the thing. I don't know either.
I'd have to
uh,
see what all it has, like obviously it would be more powerful, but like, is the screen going to be brighter and bigger? Hopefully
here's my
that would be
thing.
the
Here's my thing.
case.
If I have the money when or if this comes out, if they came out with an edition that is special for the Breath
Oh
of the
my
Wild,
gosh.
the sequel, done.
So
But the thing is like the Switch, right? Breath of the Wild was rough to run on a Switch at first. Like I remember in handheld mode and even in dock mode, like it was having a tough time with the grass. When you walked in to go grab the Master Sword, frames were dropping, grass was popping in out of nowhere, grass wasn't popping in other places. Like it was bad. And this happened throughout the whole world, but really in the Lost Woods. If they can fix that for this game to make it a more smooth experience, why not? I mean, at that point,
yeah,
but at the same time, we're 3 years in. We're almost 4 years in on this console. In 2 more
that's
months, we're gonna
crazy
be.
to think.
Isn't it, guys?
That's
It's November. Anyways,
crazy.
in 3 months, 4 months. Okay, sorry, 4 months. We'll be 4 years in on the Switch, which is kind of crazy to think about. You got another 2 years until two, maybe three, maybe three. Nintendo does a lot of 6 years, but maybe 3 years
I
before
wouldn't
the
be
next
surprised if
console
this one
comes
was
out.
longer just because of the success of the Switch. I would not be surprised, especially if they release a
True.
pro model in the meantime. Like,
But the Wii was very successful as well. And then they came out with the Wii U. And we all know what happened with the Wii U. They had to come out with the Switch. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. And honestly, Nintendo always surprises me. Like they came out with the Wii, and I was like, what more could they do? And then they came out with the Wii U, and I was like, okay, you could have done more. And then they came out with the Switch, and I was like, what more could you actually do? And but they're moving forward, Nintendo is always innovating. They're, PlayStation 5, Xbox, they have all their great tech and things like that, but they don't innovate. They don't. The tech they innovate, but Nintendo, they're like, yeah, we're going handheld held and on the TV. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So
yeah.
I don't know.
I I'm I'm like kind of like considering, obviously I would have to wait and see what it all looks like and what the price is like and everything like that. But like
Yeah.
I don't think I would be opposed to like trying to like flip my Switch and sell it used and then put that money towards the new one So I feel like
Mhm.
I could get a little bit more than usual for mine, because mine is one of the like first generation ones before they patched some of the like hackable things you could do with it. So like I installed Android on my Switch on an SD card. So it's like completely separate from the Switch operating system, but it's one of those
Yeah.
cool things you can do. But you can't do that with the newer models. So I feel like maybe I could like sell it for a little bit more to somebody who wants that kind of thing.
That's funny.
I don't
That's
know.
funny.
We'll have to see.
That's funny. So, anyways, guys, moving along. As you guys well know, due to COVID-19, TwitchCon was canceled this year. But guys, we're not having TwitchCon next week. We're having GlitchCon.
That's really cool.
Let's go.
I
So
like it.
this is it's going to be our virtual TwitchCon. There's not a lot of information on this. I'll be completely honest. There's not a lot of information. It's happening on November 14th. It looks like it's gonna be a one-day event. It doesn't they just said it's happening on November 14th.
I
There's
mean,
there I What can you do in one day for everybody on Twitch to make this worth
I
it
mean,
to
it's
watch?
probably just like the keynote presentation that they would usually do to kick off TwitchCon, where they talk about all the new things coming to Twitch. So I definitely get it being like a 1 day thing instead of a
For
multiple
sure.
day thing. There's not really any reason for it to be a multiple day thing
That's true,
if it's
that's
an
true.
online event. So it's probably just going to be that, maybe with some other fun things. But it basically still gives them a way to, you know, hype up the next year of Twitch and show all the cool things that they're going to be doing, even though there's not going to be a physical TwitchCon.
It does say it's gonna show, the site's artists, cosplayers, and communities as well. So, I mean, it's gonna be a one-day event. Who knows how long? We don't really know. But yeah, it's you got your digital. If you guys wanted TwitchCon, you were super upset. Well, you don't have TwitchCon. You have GlitchCon. So
Next best thing.
yes, next best thing. So, so the 14th. So, guys, that is a Saturday. Clear your schedules. Don't go to GlitchCon and go to God Squad Church, twitch.tv/GodSquadChurch right here.
I was
And then
literally
you can
just
go to
thinking about that
GlitchCon.
when you said clear your schedule. I was like, I think that's kind of a problem for us.
Yeah, we can't clear our schedules, but
Maybe it'll be
you can
like
go
in
to
between
GlitchCon
services.
after. Yeah, exactly.
That'd be nice.
Exactly. So that's when GlitchCon is happening, though. But what else do we have going on with the PlayStation CEO and what he's saying, Seraph?
Yeah, so PlayStation CEO has come out and said that VR won't be meaningful, uh, a meaningful part of gaming for years. But then he also says, but it will come at some stage. They do believe that it will come, just that it won't for quite some time.
Yeah.
And this, I understand. I really do. I think I do kind of have to agree with this statement a little bit.
Mhm.
But it also makes me very sad because I love VR. Even though I don't have one, I have played it a good
Yeah.
amount on other people's hardware, and I want to get one as soon as I can, but money. So
Yeah. I think what he's kinda getting at here, right, we have Beat Saber, great game, right? You have, Skyrim even in VR. Now, let's be honest, the game came out in 2011, so it's been a while. So they could do that, but I think they're talking more like high quality games, like really high quality games that you can play on VR. So like something's coming out and day one you have a VR with it. It's not like Elder Scrolls and then you have 7 years go by and then you have a VR that's kind of trash, but and you have to download a whole bunch of stuff to make the game workable. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like vanilla release. You can play VR and have a good experience with it. I think that's what he's talking about. And so, Seraph, I don't remember what the game was. What was the game that I played that almost had like waves of enemies coming at me? I could use magic with one hand, axe in another hand. Do you remember what that game was called?
oh,
I played it at TwitchCon
oh,
2019
wait, you played it at
or
TwitchCon?
Twitch,
You mean SquadCon?
SquadCon. Sorry,
I was like, you didn't go to TwitchCon.
no, I did not.
It was oh shoot, what was it called? I know what you're talking about. Let me look in my Steam library. I know
Well,
what you're talking about.
regardless, guys, it was a smaller game. It had waves of
Blade and
enemies.
sorcery.
That's it. And you could choose the wave, you could choose how hard it was, but it wasn't like a storyline where you could walk
Yep.
around an entire world like Skyrim. Once again, Skyrim is extremely clunky, especially the vanilla version. It's kind of broken on VR from what I've heard. So I think that's what he's getting at here. Not that VR isn't fun, not that it doesn't work, because if it didn't, they Sony would not have a VR. It wouldn't. But I think that's that's my personal thoughts on it though.
I think it'll
So
be
we'll see.
interesting to see if they come out with an updated PlayStation VR headset. This article mentions that you can still use the old headset with the
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 with an adapter. So maybe that's all they're worried about for now. Maybe they tried it and now they're in this mindset where they're like VR is not quite ready yet.
I
Um,
thought they said they were coming out with a new headset.
it's
At
possible.
s- okay, there's not a new one announced as of yet, but
Yeah. But
I
as
thought
far as
okay,
like the games
they're
go,
working on one though. They're
yeah,
working on
of
one.
course they're working on one, but
Oh, for sure.
maybe it's not coming until 3-4 years down the line where they feel like
Yeah.
VR is going to be ready. But as far as the games go, that's really the thing holding VR, one of the things holding VR back. The fact that there's not a lot of like AAA games for it. And I know you mentioned Skyrim, but I wouldn't even say that that is like the Skyrim VR, even if it like was bug free, like that's not going to be the kind of thing that is going to push VR forward, because
True.
you're adapting a normal game to VR, which can be a good experience. I think Skyrim VR was an okay experience. I have played it. Um, haven't played it a lot, but it was a good enough experience. A little janky, but what do you expect?
It's Skyrim. I mean, the
It's
game
Skyrim.
there are dragons flying upside down in the original game, so
Yeah, um but um I think one of the main reasons why we don't see a lot of really high quality AAA games built from the ground up for VR is
yeah,
just the fact that like not a ton of people have VR headsets, and that's the main issue, where VR is just still kind of pricey, and people just aren't really sure about investing in it yet. Not a lot of people have VR headsets. So it's like making a game for like the 1% right now, where you could put so much time and effort into a game on VR and it could be the greatest game of all time, but only 1% of people would actually be able to play it. So
yep,
like there's like the cost and time investment it would take to make a great game like that on VR just isn't worth it for most developers, because they're only going to be able to sell a certain amount of copies because only a certain amount of people have VR headsets. So like they would never be able to recoup the development costs from that game, and that's kind of the dilemma that VR is in right now, where the only people that are really able to make good VR experiences are like big companies that already have some room to work with. And even they aren't doing anything super crazy. Valve did Half-Life Alyx, which I still really want to play. And that was one of the first like really built from the ground up VR games that's like a complete experience, has like a story with it, and all that. But I don't think it was super long, and I don't think they're like continuing to like add much to it.
yeah.
So it's like the great experiences in VR are few and far between, unfortunately. And it's mostly because that the just the install base of the people that have access to it is very, very small.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and like you said, it's pricey, and even myself, I don't have a VR headset. I can't like just buy into it. I loved the experiences I had, but I think about it and I'm like, is it worth it to buy? If I had like a whole load of extra money, yeah, sure. But most people in this day and age don't have that accessibility. A lot of people don't have the PCs or the consoles to be able to use it. So currently, right now, VR is still on a standstill. But speaking of how pricey it is, guys, the Oculus 2.
Before we move on to that,
Oh,
I wanna
okay.
touch on something people are mentioning in chat. A couple people mentioned Star Wars Squadrons. Um,
Yes.
that is a little bit different of a scenario because that's a game that is very easily adapted to VR, where the only thing you really need to worry about is the like looking around in VR. So that's something where VR is both easy to implement, but also adds like a lot of value compared to most other games. You know, you think of something like a shooter. You cannot just easily adapt a normal shooter to VR. There's so much more work that needs to go into it. The same with like adventure games and things like that. It's so much harder to adapt those games to VR. Whereas Squadrons, like a sim style game, um, it's much easier to adapt it to VR because the only thing you need to worry about is like looking around in the cockpit and a couple other things. But compared to other games, it adds so much to that experience with very little effort. So Squadrons is kind of a choice scenario where it benefited very highly from VR, but it was also very easy to implement it. So I'm definitely happy for Squadrons. I'm glad it had VR. I know a lot of people are really enjoying it, and it's kind of like night and day playing it with or without VR. From what I've heard, it's like a completely different experience, which is really cool. But again, it is very different for implementing VR in that game compared to most other games. But moving on to the Oculus Quest 2, which we've talked about a little bit in the past, it's interesting to see that the PlayStation CEO sees VR that's still quite a few years out when the Oculus Quest 2 is being pre-ordered 5 times as much as the original. Now, maybe that number is still small. Maybe that number is still small in the grand scheme of things.
It's small in the grand scheme of things. However, I think it's not because how improved it is and all these things. I think it's because of the price. Like when the first Oculus came out, how much was it? I don't even remember, but it was at least, wasn't it $500 or $600 when it first came out? Like it
No,
was.
the original Quest was 400.
Oh, the Quest was okay, but
The
before
original
that,
VR
the original.
headset, um, I think the Vive officially started selling before the original Oculus did. I could be wrong there, but the
I don't
Vive
remember.
was originally 700, I believe, maybe
Yeah,
even 800. I forget.
right.
Um,
And now you have the Quest 2, which is improved in a lot of different ways, and it's $300.
yeah.
Like that's not bad. It's $100 less than the Quest 1, and there's a lot of differences here. And so I think that's part of the reason why the sales are they're jumping up quite a bit. And
Yeah.
VR is getting more popular. I will say that
Mhm.
VR is still gaining a lot of popularity. But like you said, the CEO thinks it's years off, but Quest is like, yeah, we're gonna
And
prove you wrong.
it's a very interesting space right now, I think.
Yeah,
So because like if the Quest 2 was to do really well, then that's a lot more people with VR headsets in their hands. Um, so I don't know. We could see things change quite rapidly in like a year or two compared to like 3 or 4 years, like the PlayStation CEO is expecting.
yeah,
But who knows? Who knows what will happen? I for one love VR. I think it's fantastic. I want a VR headset. But
mm,
like I guess the hard part is like even those people that want to see VR succeed, they can't necessarily invest in it and even play it. So like
yeah,
I'm in that case right now. I love VR. I love talking about the tech and all that. I would love to have a VR headset. I just want to play Beat Saber all day. But
yeah, yeah.
but like even the people that really care about it, they can't really invest in it, which is super unfortunate. Faith Makes a Way mentioned catch 22 with VR. In order to sell more systems, there needs to be more great games. In order to justify game dev costs, there needs to be more systems out there. And they're
Sure.
completely right. You hit the nail on the head. It's a very difficult space to grow right now.
Yeah,
To be honest, I thought VR was going to take off a little bit sooner than it has, but we still haven't seen that. So I'm probably more where the PlayStation CEO is right now. We probably do need like 3 or 4 more years, if not
agreed.
more. But I would love to see it sooner.
You know what would really make VR take off though?
What?
Watching the yoke talk in VR.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Could you imagine literally though, can you imagine one day? Now, can you I don't think you can. I don't have a VR headset, so maybe I just don't know. Can you watch like Twitch with just your headset on?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's what would be interesting if they could make this happen. If people set up their rooms in specific ways with multiple cameras in the room, and with you not being there with your VR headset, you could look around and actually look around the entire room.
Like your actual room?
No, let's say I'm watching your stream
Okay.
and you have cameras, like you set it up in a special way that Twitch now has. This is 20 years
Like a
out.
3D scan of my room?
Yes.
Okay.
And I could just be like, oh, that's what his I want to know what Ninja's room
not
looks
where I
like, or
thought you were
Tim the
going with
Tatman.
that.
Listen, I think that would be so cool.
What would be cool is because they have this already. Like you can basically get like a group together in VR, and then like you're basically sitting in like a virtual movie theater, and then you're watching whatever on like a big screen. So that would be cool. Like a bunch of people like get together and they watch the YokeTalk, and then they can look around and see each other's avatars next to them. That would just be good. We could
it'd
have
be so great.
virtual yokers, a virtual yoker audience. That'd be so great.
Virtual yoke talk. We'll sit in the audience with you guys.
It's coming. It's coming.
One day.
One day
We'll
you will be able to experience the YokeTalk virtually with your fellow yokers.
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
coming. We already got 50 viewers right now. We're moving. We're moving, going places. So the next thing, guys, and I'm excited about this. I haven't read too much about it, but Unworthy Seraph knows a little bit more than I. A lot of people, there's a lot of different opinions on the Xbox controller, the Nintendo Switch controller, PlayStation 5 controller, and how they're going to feel, what they're going to look like. Obviously, we already know about the Pro controller for Nintendo Switch, but the PlayStation 5 controller, people are getting their hands on, and apparently Unworthy Seraph knows if it's good or bad. So talk about it. What's going on here? Obviously, the PlayStation 4 was a huge upgrade from PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 controller, I'll be honest, I'm a Sony guy. It was garbo. But this controller, what's going on here with the PlayStation 5 controller?
Yeah, so people are starting to get it in their hands, and reviews and experiences are starting to come out online from people who have actually used the controller. And I've heard from multiple people that the PlayStation 5 controller is really, really nice, and that they even think it's like going to be one of the biggest decisions that like drives people's console choice for people who are like still on the fence, because like
Wow.
they think it's that good of an experience. And the two things that they're mentioning are the haptics in the triggers, and like the adjustable tension in the triggers, and the really, really high quality rumble, basically. I forget what they call it specifically, but like the haptics in the controller that can make really, really fine-tuned rumble feelings. So PlayStation has a game that they made that I think is free, probably free. It'd be really,
I think the Playroom, right?
yeah, the Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
Be really surprised if it wasn't free. But basically,
Yeah,
they
no,
made a
that's
game
right.
to showcase what you can do with the new controller. So basically, every surface in the game feels different on the controller when you're walking over it. So like when you're walking over glass compared to metal, compared to sand, you can feel the difference walking over those things with the controller.
Wow.
And it's not something that's like an annoying experience from what I've heard. Like a lot of people that have played it like feel like it really adds to the experience, and they can see the greater potential in it. And then the triggers as well. There's like this spring character you can play in the game where you're like springing and jumping. And then the trigger in that segment is like you can like feel the spring in the trigger.
That's cool.
So really, really cool. I've heard really good things about the controller. But what it all comes down to, I think, is if more developers are kind of going to take advantage of it. Because like we even saw similar things with the Switch. You know, they put a lot of tech into the Joy Cons, and they tried to show it off with 1-2 Switch, but we haven't seen anything
Yep.
take advantage of those things other than 1-2 Switch.
Yeah.
So is the PlayStation 5 going to be a similar scenario? We'll have to wait and see. But I've
And
heard really good
that's
things.
that's kind of where I was thinking because like PlayStation 4, I mean, it didn't have a lot, but the trackpad specifically and then the light bar, both of those were supposed to be used a lot in video games. And the trackpad essentially became your start button and the light was never used except to drain your battery and to tell you what player you were, whether you were first player, blue bar, second player, red bar. It wasn't really that great. Like I'll be completely honest. So they had all these plans. They said this is what it's going to do, and so I'm wondering, PlayStation 5 controller, are you going to try and innovate and recognize that you're not really going to be able to use it all that much, or a developer's not going to want to use it? Like whatever the case may be, I'm hoping that you'll be able to because even the light bar, I remember they had the playroom for PlayStation 4 for free. And I remember you had all these little tiny guys inside of a little room. And if you put your hand over the light on the screen, it actually made it like dark and you could shake them around and stuff like that and like mess them all up. So it was a cool idea, but it wasn't used for anything. And like I said, the trackpad essentially became your button. If you press it on one side, it was a map, and on the other side, it brought you to the start menu. Like that's what it essentially became, which is kind of sad. So we'll see where the PlayStation 5 controller goes. I do want to say this. This is completely off topic. This is just for new people that are coming in. I try to say this once per stream. I do want to make a command so we don't have to do this.
Yeah, we should probably do
We should probably do
that.
that. But the reason, there are things that we talk about. We do a lot of gaming and tech, but we also every once in a while try to put in a life topic as well. Not every single week, but we do put in a life topic as well. We've talked about like last week we talked about sacrifice. A couple weeks ago we talked about leaders versus followers and what the difference is and the fact that one is not better than the other. We do those types of things. And then finally, the reason why we don't always we look at the chat. I'm reading the
Yep.
chat. Reason why we don't always respond to the chat is because people are listening to this not like not on Twitch. And so we want to make sure that everybody as a whole has the same experience because there's a lot of people listening to it on Spotify or other platforms as well. So we just want to make sure everybody has the same similar experience, just so you guys know.
Yep. And as far as tech goes, we talk about tech when it's related to gaming. So
Right.
me for one, I love tech. I could talk about tech, whatever. But we mostly talk about tech when it's related to gaming. So whether we're talking about the tech in the PlayStation 5 controller, or maybe we're talking about new computer parts because they have big impacts on PC gaming, things like that. We talk about tech when it relates to gaming.
And we talk a lot about Apple and Epic.
Yeah.
Not for a little while.
Not for a little while.
We'll pick that back up in
When
March.
there's
But
something to talk about.
anyways, there's a game coming out on November 20th that I'm super excited for. I'm going to be streaming it. I'm excited for this, even though it's not a Zelda game. Don't call it a Zelda. Please don't call it a Zelda game. Anyways, Seraph has played Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, the demo that came
Yes.
out that you can play on the Switch. Seraph, how is it? Tell me that my expectations are going to be met and even more.
Okay, so I'm guessing you haven't played the demo, right?
I have not yet.
I would highly recommend it. I never played the first Hyrule Warriors, never really had any desire to. But then Age of Calamity was announced, and it was like set pre Breath of the Wild. There was going to be more story to it that linked into the Breath of the Wild story. They worked with the Zelda team on it.
Yes.
Like, it looked like it was going to be like a better Zelda experience than the original Hyrule Warriors. So I don't know gameplay wise how close it is to the first one. I would expect it's probably pretty close. But I was like, this is probably a game that I'll pick up in like a year or so and maybe play. I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy it. But then they came out with the demo and I was like, oh, cool. I'll download that. I'll play it, see how it is. I really enjoyed it. I really
Nice.
enjoyed it. it's scratching that Breath of the Wild itch, even though the gameplay is like completely different. Like,
Nice.
because like it's already had like multiple cutscenes that are like Breath of the Wild style and level of detail. There's voice acting. Like, I'm like loving it, and like the gameplay is fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. Like the characters I've played so far are Link, Impa, and Zelda, and like each of them play like pretty different. And they all just have like really cool move sets. Like they're all fun to play. Like Zelda uses the Sheikah slate to fight basically, and like her basic like attack combo like uses stasis and then magnesis, and then she throws out a bomb. It's like,
It looks really cool. It
like
looks really
it's
cool.
a lot of fun. I started on the hardest difficulty, very hard, because it said I could change it later. So I was like, I'll just try this out, see how it is. And then I actually ended up getting stuck on like the last part of the first level for like 30 minutes. I kept dying. It was really sad. It was kind of frustrating. But then I finally beat it, took the difficulty down a notch, and was playing a little more. I don't know how
You
far
might
the
have.
demo goes. What was that?
I'll be back in 2 seconds. My wife has called me 4 times.
Okay. I will continue talking about Hyrule Warriors. Yes. Okay. So, yeah. So I don't know how far the demo goes, because I haven't really got to the point where it stopped me yet. But I've played 2 levels, and it gave me like 4 more levels to play. So I don't know if I can play all of them. Those pajamas, seriously. But I've really, really enjoyed it. And I'm kind of sad now because, like I said, I was expecting it to be a game that I would play in like a year or so, but now I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm like, well, dang, I kind of want to get this on release, but I don't want to spend $60. So I'm like in this predicament where I'm like, well, I've already had a taste of it, and now I want more, but I don't want to spend money. But anyway, so I've really, really enjoyed it. It's so interesting that it's been able to scratch that Breath of the Wild itch for me, even though the gameplay is very, very different. But just everything about it, aside from the game, even it's not even just like the gameplay is very different, of course, but even then, like it still feels Breath of the Wild. Like you've still got your lock on to enemies. You've still got like the perfect dodge flurry rush things. There are some elements carried over from Breath of the Wild to the combat, but just the game as a whole feels so Breath of the Wild. And it's really, really enjoyable and fun. I love just like killing a ton of enemies, and it's really, really great. So I wasn't expecting to enjoy it that much. I was expecting to maybe enjoy the gameplay and then probably just mostly play it for the story. But I'm enjoying both, and it's been really, really great.
Still talking about the demo?
Yes, I've
Okay, so
said all my thoughts.
I want to put in my thoughts.
Sure.
I watched it for a little while. It looks like Zelda's a little OP. She looks like she's a lot of fun though. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about is to see the new characters that they're going to come out with. We all know the champions are going to be in the games. The fact Impa's in there 100 years previous than the Breath of the Wild, it looks good. So I'm excited. I should play the demo.
You
but
should. Yeah.
I know a lot of people, a lot of people have been talking about, well, I don't know, because Hyrule Warriors wasn't up to my expectations. But you have to understand, Hyrule Warriors was not meant to be a Zelda game. It was meant to be a crossover game from Dynasty Warriors. That's what it was. Defeat
Well, it
loads
wasn't
of
like
enemies.
a crossover game.
Not a crossover, but yeah, a crossover
Dynasty Warriors
in
inspired gameplay.
exactly. And so that's what it was supposed to be. They weren't meaning for it to be a Zelda game. This one, because the devs had say in it, it looks good. It looks good.
It's real fun. So
I'm excited.
What is this last little bit of topic before we get going for the day?
Guys, Microsoft has kind of made fun of themselves, but they're, if you can't beat them, you join them. Microsoft, everybody was making fun of Microsoft when they announced their console looking like a mini refrigerator. So Microsoft decided to embrace that theme, and they came out with a mini refrigerator that looks like their console. So they decided, like
That's
the
hilarious.
the PlayStation 5, everybody's like, it looks like the router, the Wi-Fi router. People were talking about the Nintendo Switch looking like a toaster, which it doesn't, but it's kind of just a funny meme. But Xbox Series X fridge is actually happening, guys.
That's
It's actually a
amazing.
mini fridge. So if you guys want to embrace the memes with Xbox, they embrace their own meme, and they have it, it's a $500 fridge.
I don't think it's a mini fridge.
This isn't a mini fridge. This is
It looks
no.
like a full
This
size fridge.
this is a full size refrigerator. It's a $500 Xbox refrigerator.
That's amazing.
Microsoft is growing, guys.
I don't-
Microsoft is getting larger.
I don't even want an Xbox Series X, but I want this fridge.
But here's the thing. How many people are actually going to buy this fridge? There's going to be a lot. There is. I'm not saying it's, but I'm like thinking about it like kids that get the Xbox Series X, like a lot of kids. Their parents are never going to allow something like this inside of their house. But it's thinking, somebody that's 30 years old, that's a big Xbox guy, and they're like, I need a new fridge anyways. I'm going to get this one.
It measures more than 6 feet tall and weighs 400 pounds. This is a full size fridge.
This is dumb.
This is fantastic.
So wait. And here's the great thing. It even has an Xbox logo at the front that lights up, and the Xbox Series X boot sound fires up when you use the disk drive slot to open when you open the fridge door. So when you open the fridge door, not only do you get a green glow, but the boot sound fires up when you open up the fridge door.
So great. That's fantastic. All right, people are asking for an image. Let me get it on here for those of you that are watching this in video form. Let's check this out. This is the Xbox fridge. Skip into it a little bit. Look at this giant box. 4K, 120 FPS, 1 terabyte SSD. But this is not a console, my friends. Oh no. This is a fridge. Oh, I didn't hit fade. Here we go. Now it's there.
There it is.
There you go. Look at it. Look at it. Here we go. Here it comes. It's rolling out. Here it comes. Get ready, everybody.
It lights up.
Lights up.
It actually lights
rolls
up.
out. Here we go. This is it. Do you think it's like a remote control fridge?
No. If it was,
Behold.
Listen, there would be no need.
Fridge.
Could you imagine you're just sitting in your chair and your refrigerator comes to you? That will be the day.
I love this video. I love how dramatic it is.
It actually looks like the console. And it opens up, guys.
And
they have a
there's an
Steam
Xbox
machine
inside
inside.
it.
There's an Xbox inside.
This is fantastic.
Oh my goodness gracious. That's it, guys. Speaking of the Xbox being inside the fridge, I don't know if you guys know
There it
this.
is for scale.
That's
like little baby Xbox.
little baby Xbox, and
So
then the
good.
Xbox refrigerator. That's hilarious.
So good.
So I don't know if you guys know this. Phil Spencer made a video a while back. I think it was back in March. Nobody noticed it until very recently. He made a video. I don't know if it was in his house or in his office, but there was a bookcase behind him. There were books piled on the whole bookcase. And little did we know, the Xbox Series S was revealed that day. And this was 7-8 months before they even talked about the Xbox Series X or the Xbox Series S. But it was on the bookcase.
That's
and
great.
Nobody noticed that it wasn't a book. I thought that was hilarious.
That's awesome.
So
I love it when companies do stuff like that.
it's just a little Easter egg.
Yeah.
So that was my final thing. We're gonna get into a couple of life stories real quick because we are a little bit over here. Just short life things, guys. For me, gaming wise, I'm trying to lock down times with my wife, which we've been talking about my stream being more consistent. So I'm not streaming once this week and then twice this week and then 4 times this week and then taking 3 weeks off and then streaming again on a Sunday. Like where I'm actually going to lock down consistent times. Now, is it going to be super consistent? I don't know. We're going to do our best. But what I started doing just a couple days ago was I actually remade my a character, an alternate character on Final Fantasy 14 because I heard that the new patch made it super easy to level up. It used to take me days to level up a character. Like Seraph, you got to level like 25 or
I got
26
to
after
30,
playing. Was it
I
30?
think.
After playing for how long though?
I don't
It was
know.
like a month. It
It
was
was
like a month you were playing.
no. It was like a few days.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because it takes a while to level up in that
I
game.
did
It really
not play
does.
that game for a month.
Guys,
I-
I played for 6 hours and I'm level 20. And that's with watching the cutscenes and everything else, like 6 hours and I'm level 20. That is down from like, I think it was 15 to 20 hours to get to just level 20 or something like that. So it is super easy now to level up in that game with a new character. And so I decided to make a stream character just for my stream, not playing him offline at all. So that's what I'm doing as of late. And I'm still going to be playing Breath of the Wild on my stream as well. So that's where
nice.
I'm at right now.
Nice. I need to finish Outer Wilds. I haven't played that in weeks. But I think I'm gonna play some Warzone tonight with my boy Ace Wing. I think I might
Nice.
stream it too. May as well, just because I
Very
haven't
nice.
streamed in ages. But yeah, so I'll be playing a little bit of that tonight. And I still need to finish Outer Wilds, so hopefully I can get to that. Because life has been crazy, but crazy in good ways. So
The most consistent streamer ever on
In-
Worthy Seraph. Right here, guys.
inconsistently consistent,
Yes.
or whatever it is. I forget. But
right here, that guy.
me. That's me. But I think that is going to do it for us today, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the YokeTalk podcast. We're coming up on episode 20 here in just a couple weeks.
Really?
Yep. This was 18.
So did we count last week's episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know.
It was an official
So-
episode.
It was an official episode.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't know, we're not uploading it or anything because it was for Waymaker Week. It was live.
We definitely uploaded it.
You uploaded it?
Why would we not?
I don't know. Matt told me that probably wouldn't be uploaded because we were going to be interacting with the chat. But hey, we uploaded it. Hope you guys enjoyed.
it's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. All the places you can go
All right,
watch it,
it's
listen
on-
to it.
All of the places.
Yeah.
All of the places.
But yeah,
Okay.
that's gonna do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with some more awesome topics, and hopefully we'll have a life topic for you guys as well. This
Yes.
week we were coming off a Waymaker week, and we didn't exactly have a lot of time to put together a life topic for you guys. But next week
It's a long week.
we will have one for you guys. So thank you guys so much for joining us at the YokeTalk. Pastor Balls, do you have any final words for all the yokers out there?
I love you, yokers.
Amen.
You guys are amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Excellent. Well, guys, have a wonderful week ahead of you. We love you guys.